This is not a fairy tale story that we're just exasperating. We've had a tenant who is living with a very sickly child and having to rely on processed outside food on a daily basis, which we all know is very unhealthy, especially for cancer patients. The body needs alkaline, nutritious food. And unfortunately, Northpoint again has refused to give the the working necessities that tenants need, including just a stove. And every lease that we sign, all of us, no matter where you live, there's an obligation for the management to make sure that you have working utilities. And for over a year to not have a working stove is a grave slap in the face, and we can't help but to think, is it because we are poor working class folks of color? So, I'm going to pull up another speaker. We are going to have Miss Valerie Davis come up and share her testimony. Miss D, there you go.
Hey, Hallie.
My name is Valerie Davis.
Can you spell that, please?
VALARIEDAVIS.
Thank you.
And I've been with Northpoint. I've been living in Northpoint Apartments for 40 years. And during this renovation, it's the worst one that I've ever seen. But to make a long story short, I'm having problems with my stove. They have given me 3 different stoves. I'm either having problems with the top of the stove or the oven part. So this last stove that they brought out to me, it came on, it worked, but then it left a residue like in the inside of the oven. So I cleaned it out, and as I was cleaning it, I have never used the stove before. I mean the oven. I had never used the oven. So when I did decide to use the oven, which was 3 weeks later, as I was washing it, this chemical from around the door part, I don't know what this is, but this is what came off of it. Some type of chemical, because I could smell it. But I've never had a stove that when I clean it, I mean a brand new stove, cleaning it will come off like this. So I don't know what this is, but the other 2 stoves that I had cancer causing chemicals on it. And I don't want a stove like that. I'm not trying to get sick. So my thing is, I've been in Northpoint, after the renovation, which was like 15 months ago for me, I haven't had a decent stove. And they did not reimburse me for my claim.
Thanks, Ms. Val. So obviously, again, right, we're talking about just basic living conditions. That's really horrible to think that tenants do not have working stoves. Thinking about, again, that they are about to be building a luxury development that costs $1 billion, I can guarantee that
it's being subsidized for $1 billion
in TIF funds, right? So these monies that they're getting, again, are coming from these folks. We pay into the TIF fund as well, right? So we are paying one of the largest developers to basically poison our poorest neighbors in the city. I can guarantee you that those neighbors that are going to be housed in the luxury development by Related Midwest will never have to beg for a stove for over a year. Amen. They will never have to beg that their apartment does not flood twice in a year. These, again, are just basic living conditions that our neighbors are asking for, and for some reason it is really like pulling teeth. Understand that they have the right to adequate, fair housing, and we are dealing with slumlord material right now. We're dealing with mismanagement as well. A lot of folks have had horrible experiences with the management that they bring in. The management is rude, it's disrespectful, it is not communicating properly when they need to return files, and when they do return their files, they're then asked 4 and 5 times more to bring in the same files, right? So if you don't have a competent management, of course these files are going to get diluted, and we're seeing a lot of our tenants who've had to now be forced to get representation from lawyers because they're saying that they have to pay back thousands of dollars in back rent. That's not right. So I'm going to call up who you got, Miss Yolanda? Miss Yolanda, can you come to the podium and tell these good people about the story? I guess they're just on a personal issue.
Can you say and spell your name before we
Yes,
start?
Yolanda, U-O-N-D-A Johnson. There's some issues that occurred over the summer. Most of the things I'm just noticing is just the hostility amongst the staff. Things are being addressed, the verbal communication, the hostility against the security staff and the residents. I think we should be able to go in and speak to staff regarding issues, regarding repairs, things like that. If it's an issue to us where the repairs aren't getting did, maybe contract out with different companies, communicate that with residents. We all live here, we all love to live here. There are issues I'm hearing about with the stoves. I've had issues, things in my unit that I try to get addressed. My number one issue that has been occurring over here has been safety. I'm on a ground unit. There's a lot of things that do occur around the surroundings that may or may not be addressed properly. I try to call 911, but it's like you can only do so much. I'm at a preparation standstill where I'm packed up and I'm ready to move. Due to the violence that's occurring, due to the non-communication that I'm getting in regards of a better living situation and living in these units.
What's been your response? What's been the response from management when you try to talk to them about these issues?
We communicate, but not on a, how would you say it, like a logical level of communication sometimes. It seems from conversations I've had with the staff and the security staff, they were given a stigma about a lot of residents over here. That pretty much, and this was verbal, and I quote from the security guards, a lot of women are from projects, their children are dirty, and this is a conversation that I went back and forth with security staff, and I asked them, everybody's not like that over here. Right. They just have a stigma and a bias that they were given, and that's the how I would say, that's the what they reflect off when they speak to residents, and that's not right. Everybody deserves respect. I should be able to go and talk to my security staff about things that's going on and feel comfortable enough to do that. Right now, I just walk past the security staff and I utilize Chicago police when things are going on. Sadly.
Yolanda, you mentioned that there is security staff. What would you like the management to do better on the topic of security?
My honest opinion, and it's not even just for my situation, just some things I do, they really need to switch out the security team. Anytime you got the security team sitting and joking and smoking and having sexual relationships with residents, but then they'll go to this building and say you can't do things, but over here it's okay. You have to set a standard. Either you're going to work off what you were here contracted to do, or there should be another contract. We went through several security companies that I'm aware of, several staff in the office, so it's like at what point does someone step in and just stop this? We're residents, we're not individuals, just, it's crazy. It's no respect across the board. None at all.
Thank you, Ms. Val.
Thank you.
Is it you, Miss Val?
Hey,
Okay. Miss Lowe, you sure you don't want to come tell these people about the 2 feet of water in your apartment? Miss Lowe, come on. You want to come tell these people about the 2 feet of water in your apartment?
Oh, God.
In a year? There you go.
Glug glug.
You have to say your name and then spell it. And then you go.
Could you step right to the mic, ma'am? Thank you. When you're ready.
My name is Larita Owens, LarethaOwens. I was transferred to this apartment unit doing the rehab, and I had a flood the first time, June 22nd of 2021. Nothing was did about the flood. They didn't recompensate me on anything that was damaged. So I done had a second flood, which was 9/11, which was on a Sunday, and it was really bad. It was worse than the first flood. But who wants to be flooded at any time? I don't want this place. I don't want to live in this apartment. I feel that I want to come out the basement to like a first or second floor unit. I have health issues. I don't feel comfortable in this place being wet up and moldy or whatever the case may be. I have to have a surgery on the 10th of October. I'm not comfortable in this unit. I need to be somewhat comfortable after surgery. So that's my concerns about my unit.
Why haven't they moved you yet?
They've saying I have to be on a waiting list, some type of transfer, waiting list, something for me to, because first of all, they probably had some vacancies that I didn't really want to move on those areas in the blocks or whatever the case may be. Other than that, they don't have anything available.
So you've been in your unit since the flood?
Yes.
And how long did it take for the water to recede or go away, or has it gone away?
Well, the floors are still damp, of course, because it's soaked in the inside. The floors buckling up.
Really?
The baseboards came loose. Some of the stuff coming apart from because it was a nice amount of water.
Yeah.
So I feel it's still damp now. Underneath the linoleum.
And did it damage any of your personal belongings?
Yeah, my furniture, all my stuff sitting direct in it. I have videos of it.
Okay.
All my stuff is sitting in the water.
And what has management said about this recent flooding, which it happened to a lot of buildings around here?
Well, they're talking about coming in and rehabbing the unit or whatever the case may be, which I needed to make sense because it's gonna rain again and it's gonna flood again. I feel it needs to be some type of long term of stopping the rain from coming in. And that's because it's gonna rain again. They say it's nature, which I understand is nature. But if the apartments is not suitable, why rent them? I'm just saying. They shouldn't be renting out to people that's, and then you talking about rental insurance. I'm poor. I can't afford no rental insurance. Barely have life insurance, let alone rental insurance. I'm just very disgusted with it and depressed and very upset about it.
Did
I
this
have
I'm sorry.
trauma because every time it rains, I think I'm flooding. I'm going to flood. So it's messing with me mentally because I'm always thinking about when it rains, is my house going to flood again? So it's traumatic for me.
Did this happen to any of your neighbors, the flooding?
Not right here by me. I don't think so. I don't know of nobody
Okay.
right by me.
But were there other units that you know that were flooded?
Yes.
What was that?
Yes, it was other units that I know of that flooded too.
Okay.
My apartment is not the only apartment.
Right.
Angela, you mentioned reprisals.
I'm sorry?
You mentioned reprisals.
Yes. Reprisals like, sorry. What do
You
mean?
said management reprised against certain individuals.
Oh yeah, they've been.
Could you step the mic?
Sorry, yeah.
You can step away.
I can step away.
Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
no, they
Thank you.
have. They
right.
basically
You were
strong-armed a lot
I was great.
a lot of tenants, right?
Well,
A lot of tenants here are poor, so they need housing, and so they basically place the blame on the tenants to make it seem like it's their fault, right? They've given bogus lease violations to neighbors for things that they haven't done as a tool of retaliation, right? So we've literally seen them morph into slumlords. I don't think that any of us thought that this was going to be the after effect of a $21 million renovation project, especially because we have, again, elderly folks in these units. We have babies in these units, right? And they are the most vulnerable neighbors that we have out here. Why are you then trying to retaliate against these families to give them bogus lease violations that will then possibly turn into a bogus eviction.
Yeah.
And Ms. Brenda can talk about that. Where's Ms. Brenda? Miss Brenda Duncan has been up a Northpoint tenant for longer than I've been alive. So this is going to be a living testimony. Miss Brenda, can you please talk about your experiences and the retaliation that management has taken against tenants?
All right, I'm Brenda Duncan, and I'm Brenda, last name Duncan, DUNKIN /Weber, WEBER. I've been here over 30-something years. And when I tell you about a renovation, it's not a renovation, it's a nightmare. When I tell you about retaliation from this office staff, the rudeness is real. There's a lot of people that should be here today but is scared to death because they'll get a violation of whatever they feel like giving it for. No reason at all, but they give it. So my thing is, office staff, that's got to be removed. Nobody's gonna keep tolerating you downgrading everybody for no reason. People don't take that today. Tolerance is gone. So there's no respect here. People are being charged rent that they cannot afford, so they're charging the market rent. They don't know why. People have filled out rental assistance, was approved, but still owed. We don't know what happened with that. So that needs to be an investigation by itself.
Yeah.
So all I can say is that these people who's living in these horrible conditions is real. My god sister who spoke earlier about her daughter, she's suffering cancer, should not have been spending whatever change she has outside food every day. That's not right. Her health had declined through that. They had a doctor's statement. Nobody looked at that. They don't care. We are not chosen to live here. We're forced. We have no place else to go. The only other place we have to go is over there in Tent City. That's it. So between us and Tent City, we're all the same. We're talking about the same type of issue. Better housing, better this, better that. But no, when you speak on something or complain about it, they want to give you a violation or an eviction.
Yeah.
For no reason.
That's not right.
And all this stuff is wrong. It's vice infested galore. Galore. Bed bug infestation. It took the press to come out for them to try to do something the last time. But it's still an ongoing thing. And by this being the type of real estate it is, shame on them. Shame. I guarantee you. And they luxury, they're not going to have all this off the wall staff. You know, they're not going to have the conditions that we're living in. Because we're low income, that's how people treat us. It's like they treat the people in Tent City. No respect, no nothing. They don't care. So that's all I got to say. But that staffing, got to go. Because you're going to run up on the wrong somebody. Everybody tolerance. They're not asking to live like this and to be like this, but don't talk down to us. Right. Period. Period.
Miss Johnson, tell me about the waiting list. What's that about waiting lists?
The waiting list is ridiculous. A lot of people are saying they're paying up under the table to get here, but I mean, you can't blame a lot of people who try to want housing. But the waiting list is ridiculous. There's people who need housing. You know, I understand that. But it's bad either way you go. All the paperwork is really bad. Paperwork is terrible. They want people to pay almost $20,000. Where they gonna get that from? You know, nobody's got a great job like that. But this is what they're forcing them to pay. If they don't, and they on the street. So Tent City, move over, because they're trying to put everybody out. That's the way it is, and it's illegal. Illegal. We're supposed to have working appliances, working heaters. There's people heaters that's off the wall. You know, incomplete paint. This is a $21 million job. Y'all better go get your money back. I'm telling you. I had to go out and buy my own paint. So therefore, this is just a bunch of lies. And for related to be as big as they are, shame of them for having junk like this here in the office. Shame. We don't deserve that. We deserve the same treatment you got for your luxury. Point one. That's it. Just because we're just overwhelmed with it. I'm tired. You know, I'm tired. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Wait.
Okay. Yeah, I know how it goes.
So I hope that we painted a full picture as to the inhumane living conditions that our neighbors are living in right now. We really appreciate you all for coming out because it seems to be the only way that we are able to get any reaction out of Related Midwest to hopefully make some things better. We are not asking anymore. We are demanding. We have a right. Housing is a human right. And because these are subsidies coming from, their money is coming from the federal government, we are going to be working our way up the chain until they understand that we are to be taken seriously.
Angela, I want to ask on that front. You say you can't get any response from Related. Have you guys reached out to the city Department of Housing or Buildings? Has the city looked into this?
We tried to talk to HUD.
Okay.
Unfortunately, has not had the best luck. Mr. President, you want to speak to that?
I do. I'm gonna say one thing about that. Donald Cole has reached out to us and also been coming to the office periodically to make sure things are right. Now I can say he has been visible. I mean, he has been permanent here. I've been seeing his presence. So I'm not gonna speak down on him because he's doing what he can. It's a mess for him. Donald Cole has come out. He's working with us.
Who is that? Donald Polk.
He's up under HUD.
He works for HUD.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he has been coming out, and I cannot speak anything negative about him. But HUD itself, I can, because he's the only one that's come out. So, and who cares about that? And I think he's a great guy, very great guy.
Have you reached out to Jan Chakowski's office? It's a federal money.
The real pressure point here
Seniors, yeah.
is the $1 billion subsidy that the city has pledged to Related. The city of Chicago, the mayor, in a second, could have Related on their toes very easily by saying that they are not willing to give $1 billion subsidy to a company that cannot manage a $21 million rehab. That's the pressure point. We have been, the elected officials from the areas we're working with. We met with HUD and IDA. They're doing some things, but it's a huge bureaucracy. The real thing that would make this move, right, is if Lightfoot and the city said, hey, how can we possibly give you $1 billion? And that's all taxpayer money. It's our money. How can we possibly give you $1 billion to do the 78 project? It's going to be 10,000 units of primarily luxury housing. If you can't manage a $21 million 314 unit rehab. It's simple. That's where the pressure is. And we're calling on the city to act responsibly with our money and say that they're not going to give that money unless they see some real responsible ownership. Till they see management in place that is respectful of the tenants.
Right.
And until they see these issues that we've raised, that the tenants have raised, corrected immediately.
Can you say and spell your name?
Yes, Mark, M-A-R-C, Kaplan, K-A-P-L-A-N, with Northside Action.
Mark, do you live here?
No, I don't.
Okay.
And just one more, because there's a tenant who does not want to be identified, obviously for retaliatory reasons, but came to the management office last week in regards to a disrespectful phone call that she received. And so when she came to the office to actually speak with someone, it was just escalated to the point that management actually followed her out of the building. Right. So when we are talking about retaliation, we are talking about grave retaliation, right? And again, these are people that